Calls guilty. Hogan, 259914.
Mr. Hogan is at the podium with his attorney. Mr. Leach is here. Good morning, gentlemen. Mr. Kerner is present. He's our elected prosecutor, Agent Rolfe from the Michigan Department of Corrections. Mr. Hogan was before the court last on October 29th of the year 2025, and on that date, he pled guilty to child abusive activity. As a result of that plea-based conviction, the Michigan Department of Corrections did prepare a pre-sentence investigation report, scored the guidelines in an SIR, and distributed the same to the parties and to the court. Mr. Hogan, would you raise your right hand with me, please? Do you promise that you will tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth? So help you God.
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. You may put your hand down. Mr. Hogan, did you get a chance to read the pre-sentence investigation report that the court had just referenced?
Yeah, we went over it earlier.
You did? Is your attorney, Mr. Leach, did he make himself available to you to answer any questions you might have or address any concerns you may have about the contents of that report?
Yes, Your Honor.
As you read through the report, Mr. Hogan, did you find everything in it truthful and accurate?
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. Mr. Leach, have you had a chance to review the PSIR?
Yeah, Your Honor.
Is there any changes you'd like to see made to the body of that report, sir?
The only changes would be the date and the amount of jail days credit, sir.
All right, I agree, Agent Rolfe. The sentencing date should reflect today's date. What do you got for credit, Mr. Leach?
96 days, Your Honor.
Check 96, Mr. Kerner.
Yes, Your Honor.
96 it is. Agent Rolfe.
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. Do you have any scoring challenges, Mr. Leach?
The guidelines, according to the report, came back lower than what we had expected at the time of the plea. Mr. Hogan was advised that it could be 24 plus months, 24 to 35, I believe was the range at the plea date. They came back initially scored at, on this report, at 10 to 20, I believe it is. Sorry.
12/24.
It was 12 to 20, excuse me, and then with the correction we discussed this morning at the pre-conference, 15 to 25 would be the appropriate range, and we agreed.
Thank you, Mr. Leach. Mr. Kerner.
Agreed.
Agent Rolfe, do you have math for us?
Yes, Your Honor. PRV level points are 2, the level B, OV total 10, OV level 2. Guidelines are now 15 to 25 months.
Do you agree with that, Mr. Leach? No, thank you, Mr. Kerner.
Yes, Your Honor.
Very well then, Mr. Kerner, do you have any guideline challenges, changes to the pre?
I do not.
Thank you, Mr. Leach. Allocution.
Well, Your Honor, Mr. Hogan, up until this incident, has never been in trouble. He was a law-abiding citizen. He had a great job making 6 figures. He's got his home. All of that has been lost as a penalty already for his poor decision in this case. He's greatly remorseful. He takes responsibility. I think that while the guidelines are advisory, in this case, I mean, given the fact that he has no prior record, that he's been severely punished in the loss of his job, the loss of his house, and the amount of time that he's going to be serving, with the 96 days credit, I think that puts him just under 1 year. If the court were to go with the low end of the 15-month sentence, where he could potentially stay here locally in Shiawassee rather than be sent to prison. However, I would ask the court to consider the fact that he had not been in trouble prior to this. When there's rehabilitation, deterrence, I understand those things, and public safety as the factors of sentencing. As far as rehabilitation, deterrence, I can assure you he has been mortally terrified of what happened and what he's facing in this case. So I think that those are accomplished. As far as public safety and things like that, I mean, aside from this incident, he has never done anything or been in any.
Well, what happened after he was charged, Mr. Leach?
Well, he subsequently was unable to appear at court because he picked up an OWI charge in Saginaw.
Well, the latter, not appearing in court, but yeah, he has some problems after he was charged.
He has had one OWI charge that I'm aware of. And
2, right?
It says 2, but I'm only aware of the one that happened when he was unable to appear for the final pretrial date. So that's news to me that the reports are 2. I am been retained on that case, on the OWI case, but again, I'm not going to speak to that as it's pending. I don't have any facts. I don't have any.
No, totally fair. Totally fair.
I have the lab results. I don't have anything, no police reports yet for that at all.
Okay, that's fair.
While there's an allegation, there's no conviction.
True. So he did pick up an impaired driving, and now he has pending an OWI causing serious injury. That's pending, according to the pre, which
according to the pre,
both of you gentlemen said was correct.
So there is that, but that's a totally separate issue than what we're in front of the court for today.
Okay.
So in light of that, Your Honor, I think the recommendation here of 9 months jail with credit for the 96 days, I think that's actually really appropriate for Mr. Hogan in this matter. Giving him a chance to better himself and get back on track as quickly as possible is what's in everyone's best interest, not just Mr. Hogan's. His ability to work, be productive. These are all requirements of the terms of probation in the pre-sentence report and the terms of probation that the court would impose. Giving him the ability to return to work, to resume his lucrative job, and keep his life on track with monitoring and supervision, I think is what is most appropriate in this case. And I would ask the court to please consider the downward departure from the 15 months minimum and something more along the lines of the 9 months recommended by the probation department with the credit for 96 days served. He certainly has spent a significant amount of time already incarcerated, and all he has to do is sit there and think about what he's done and be remorseful for it. And I know that that's true. He's here supported by his family today in court, or here today in court. But I think this is a very anomalous, out of character incident for Mr. Hogan based on my communications and interactions with him and understanding how, and also talking to his family members and friends. But again, that would be my respectful request to the court. Thank you very much.
All right, Mr. Leach, I appreciate you getting here this morning and getting all that done so we can keep the schedule we did. I do appreciate that. That is noted. Mr. Kerner for the people.
Thank you, Your Honor. This is a defendant was convicted as a part of the Shiawassee Human Oppression Team by the Sheriff's Department, which is designed to convict or to apprehend people that are preying upon young children, and that's what happened here. I think the defendant does not have an insight into what he did wrong. He messaged what he thought to be a 14-year-old girl, talked about having a meeting for sex and payment, and then what's concerning, Your Honor, is in his own statement, he says that he wanted to, when he found out she was underage, he was concerned for her safety. Well, he was so concerned for her safety that he showed up with condoms and cash. So I find that disingenuous. I'd ask that the court fashion a sentence that focuses on punishment and deterrence and protection of our society and our children from these types of behaviors, Your Honor. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Kerner. Mr. Hogan, this is your opportunity to address the court, sir. What would you like to say?
I agree with my attorney, Your Honor, and I would like your consideration in a probationary period. And I am remorseful with my actions.
All right. Have you said everything you wanted to say?
Sure.
All right, thank you. I appreciate it. This was a shot investigation, a profile placed on social media, skip the games. Law enforcement reviewed the chats. Mr. Hogan asked if the decoy was legit real. Decoy said, well, yeah, I'm real. Asked the price, told $75 for half an hour. Cash withdrawal of $80. It seems like you pressed the decoy a little bit. You're 14, for real. He asked if she could video call or something, and he didn't need this to be the police or anything. Decoy asked that he bring condoms. He brought condoms, plus the cash. And that's the setup. But what's interesting to me, Mr. Hogan, is your response to what had happened. Now, I'll read from the report that you said was true. After I found out the person was underage, it threw me off, and I was worried for this alleged person's safety because it's an 18-year or older site, and they lied about their age to be on there. All I was trying to do was to prevent something bad from happening to them. It made me nervous that something bad would happen to this person if I didn't talk sense into them. My true intentions were not reflected within the incident, and no person ever exited. It was the police the whole time. I wholeheartedly would not harm a minor. They are innocent humans and need protection and guidance. And then you go on to ask, is there any way possible we can join forces to stop this from happening to minors as part of me helping to repay my debt to society? My intent was to help and protect a minor and talk sense into them, not to harm. So that's the setup for today's sentencing, Mr. Hogan, as I understand it. Your actions have demonstrated a deliberate intent. You initiated and you pursued sexually explicit communications. You took steps to arrange a meeting, and you continued despite clear indications of the purported victim's age. It wasn't an accident, and it doesn't seem to be impulsive. Your actions seem calculated and persistent. The court's responsibility as sentence is not only to punish past conduct, but to protect the public, particularly the most vulnerable members of our community, of course, our children. In the absence of an actual child victim in this case is due solely to the intervention of law enforcement, not any restraint on your part, Mr. Hogan. Crimes of this nature, they cause real harm. They undermine the safety of the community and create fear and exploitation of children. The legislature has determined that attempts to commit these offenses warrant consequences because they pose the same danger as completed offenses. And in determining the appropriate sentence, the court has weighed the aggravated and the mitigating factors, including acceptance or lack of responsibility, risk of reoffending, and the need for deterrence. The court finds it troubling that in your description, you said you were just trying to help and that minors are innocent humans. Your statements are clearly inconsistent with your guilty plea, which I got to remind you was taken under oath. Also, you brought condoms and you hit the ATM almost with the exact amount of cash you needed for the transaction. It's clear to the court that you have a very poor insight into your criminal behavior, which is an indicator of a poor likelihood of rehabilitation. The sentence that the court is about to impose reflects the seriousness of the offense, promotes respect for the law, provides just punishment, and serves to deter both you and others from similar conduct. First and foremost, you'll be required to register as a sex offender pursuant to the Sex Offender Registry Act. I don't know what that looks like, Mr. Hogan. I don't know how long or how often or where. I just know that there's an obligation to do so, and it's my duty to inform you of the same. You have some financial obligations, and that includes a $115 fee to pretrial services as they tried to help you through bond. That'll be paid to the treasurer's office. Also, there's a $60 DNA fee, a $130 crime victims assessment, and a $68 state cost, finally a court cost of $794. As to your sentence, Mr. Hogan, you will be sentenced to the Michigan Department of Corrections, where you'll serve a minimum of 25 months, not to exceed 240 months. And against that sentence, you'll receive credit of 96 days. Mr. Schmidt's going to come along with your appellate rights. So I'd like you to do his initial form acknowledging that you received them. If you'd like court-appointed counsel to assist you with an appeal, you have 42 days from today's date to make that request. Thank you all very much.
Thank you, Your Honor. And for the record, his initial business.
Good meeting you, Mr. Leach. Thank you. Travel safe. Let's just take a short break.